If you have a felony and you're thinking about buying a gun because 10 years have passed, do not guess. In most cases, the answer is no. 10 years by itself usually does not restore your gun rights. A wrong assumption can lead to a denied background check, a false statement issue, or even a new felony. This is not about judging you. It is about helping you avoid a serious mistake before you apply, buy, borrow, or handle a gun. This is general education, not legal advice. Your answer can depend on whether your conviction was state or federal, what the charge was, and whether your rights were restored in a way federal law recognizes. One of the biggest mistakes is thinking, I'll just try the background check and see what happens. That can create more trouble than people realize. A felony conviction does not usually stop blocking gun ownership just because enough time has passed. Under federal law, a person convicted of a crime punishable by more than 1 year generally cannot have firearms or ammunition. That includes possession and receipt. It can also include shipping, transport, or buying. That rule is not a simple 10-year waiting period. So be careful if someone says after 10 years it falls off. That may apply to some background checks, job applications, or state-specific issues. Firearm rights are different. Finishing probation does not automatically mean you can own a gun. Getting off parole does not automatically mean you can own a gun. And a nonviolent felony does not automatically avoid the federal firearm ban. There are exceptions and technical details, but the safe answer is this: time alone is usually not enough. Time may help you qualify for a pardon, expungement, set-aside, or restoration process. But it usually does not restore gun rights by itself. And buying the gun is not the only risk. Possession can be the bigger problem. Federal restrictions can cover receiving a gun, possessing a gun, transporting a gun, and having ammunition. Borrowing a gun can be a problem. Keeping ammunition can be a problem. Having easy access to a gun in the home can also raise concerns, even if someone else says they own it. That is sometimes called constructive possession. In plain English, the government may look at whether you had access or control, not just whose name is on the receipt. There is also the gun store paperwork issue. Licensed firearm dealers use ATF Form 4473 for transfers. If the buyer's answers show they are prohibited, the dealer cannot complete the sale. False answers on that form can create separate legal risk. So the safest move is not, I'll try and see if I pass. The safest move is to confirm your rights before you touch the process. State law can make this confusing. Your state may give some rights back, while federal law still matters. If your felony was a state conviction, federal law often looks at the law of the state where the conviction happened. The key question is not just, did I finish my sentence? The question is whether your civil rights were restored and whether the firearm restriction was actually removed. Getting voting rights back does not always mean gun rights came back. Being done with supervision does not always mean gun rights came back, and moving to a different state does not automatically fix the conviction from the original state. For state convictions, federal courts look to the law of the state where the conviction happened when deciding whether civil rights were restored. Federal convictions are different. If your felony was in federal court, federal law controls. A state-level restoration usually will not fix a federal conviction. Possible routes may include federal relief or a presidential pardon depending on the situation. So before you ask, can I buy a gun where I live now? Ask this first. Where did the conviction happen? If 10 years is not the answer, what can restore rights? Usually, it takes a valid legal action. That may mean an expungement, set-aside pardon, or restoration of civil rights. Federal law says some convictions may stop counting for firearm purposes if they have been expunged, set aside, pardoned, or followed by a valid restoration of civil rights. But the paperwork must remove the firearm restriction in a way federal law recognizes. Partial restoration may not be enough. Some documents restore certain civil rights but still say you cannot ship, transport, possess, or receive firearms. If the order still restricts firearms, you may still be prohibited. The real question is not, did I get my rights back? The real question is, Did I get the right rights back in a way federal law recognizes? Before you spend money on a firearm, follow a safer order. First, identify the exact conviction. Was it state or federal? What court handled it? What was the charge? What is the case number? Second, get the paperwork. You want the judgment, sentencing order, and discharge documents. Also gather any expungement, pardon, set aside, or restoration order. Third, check the law connected to the place where the conviction happened. Do not assume the state where you live now controls everything. Fourth, talk to a firearm rights attorney or qualified legal professional. Ask the question directly. Does federal law still prohibit possession or ammunition? Also ask about purchase, transfer, or transport. Fifth, do not handle guns or ammunition until your rights are confirmed in writing. That may feel slow, but it is much faster than dealing with a new criminal case. The hard truth is that the mistake usually happens before the purchase. Someone assumes they are allowed to possess a gun at all. That assumption is what you want to avoid. So, can a convicted felon buy a gun after 10 years? Usually the answer is no, not just because 10 years passed. Gun rights may be restored, but it usually takes a valid legal process, and that process has to satisfy both the state rules involved and federal law. Do not guess. Do not rely on a background check as your test. Get the records, confirm the law, and get the answer in writing before touching firearms or ammunition. If this helped, like this video, subscribe to Fresh Start Society, and visit freshstartsocietyhq.com for more information.